I'm Elizabeth Willis. I'm a poet on the faculty at the Writers' Workshop, where I've been working for, the last 5 years or so.
I'm Mark Levine. I'm a member of the poetry faculty at the Writers' Workshop. I have been teaching here for about the past 20 years. And along with my colleagues on the permanent faculty, I read every application for admission that's submitted to the poetry program. We get a lot of inquiries each year about what we might be looking for in application. And so my colleague Elizabeth Willis and I are here to talk a little bit about the process, what we see, and try to give you some useful information about this.
So, I mean, one of the questions that always comes up for me from the front office and sometimes over the email is kind of questions about what we actually are looking for. And I think there are some things that we're looking for. We're looking, I think, for energy, a kind of, integrity within the work, but certainly not any particular style of poetry, and even not necessarily a consistent sense of mastery, but of like genuine energy and interest in the work, attention to language. So to me, I think that's the most important thing, not to really second guess the readers, because as a faculty, we're really committed to a kind of program of inclusivity, and we find that the very most exciting classes that we have are those in which we're having active discussions among a real diversity of writers and perspectives.
Yeah. I think that often we've been guided by a sense of what could we bring together in the program in Iowa City that's going to make for a really exciting and productive conversation around poetry. And I think just like if you were putting together a party list, you'd say, let's have people who bring different kinds of backgrounds, perspectives, ways of going about writing poetry and thinking about poetry. Let's bring them together and see what they can learn from each other, because really the major part of the experience for writers at the Writers' Workshop isn't from what happens in the classroom, though we think the classroom is important. It's from the 2 or 3 years of living in this community with each other. So the conversations the students have outside of class, running into each other in town, in the bookstore, hanging out here in the workshop reading room, is an enormous part of where their learning and growth comes from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the things that make the Writers' Workshop an exciting place to teach are the same things that make it an exciting program for students to enroll in. We're really not looking for people to fit a particular mold at all, but precisely to bring everything they can, all their best thinking, all their best work, all their best understanding into the room, and to be challenged by each other in ways that will kind of travel with them in their life after the workshop as well.
Yeah. So in terms of applications, and in terms of the people who are admitted to the program, we have people who might identify as experimental writers, who are experimenting with form, language, questioning the very basis of what a poem is. On the other hand, we might have students who are committed to poems that are engaged with really traditional means, who write in form and occasionally in meter. And we have an enormous range of poets in between. And of course, many, many people's work evolves, changes, develops during their time here. So we're not looking for people necessarily who are committed just to a single way of thinking about poetry or writing poetry. We don't exclude those people, but we don't expect people to be at that level of development or at that level of commitment to a particular way of writing. We're looking for something that, I think in the applications, we're often just looking for something that gleams a little bit, something that registers thinking in language, energy in language. On the one hand, some kind of depth of reading experience in poetry and other art forms. On the other hand, we're looking for signs of the kinds of things that maybe can't be taught and that we don't try to teach. Some kind of something that registers the person's individual need to turn to poetry to do what they want to do with themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is the thing that can only be said in a poem? Yeah. I think that's really an interesting part of it. And yeah, also, I mean, I think there's a tendency, especially with submissions, whether they're to, a book prize or a magazine or to an MFA program, to think that you have to kind of have everything as absolutely neat and controlled as possible. And I think something that I've really enjoyed about our conversations as we deliberate over the applications is our interest in work that is also searching, that's finding its voice. And there's also, I think it's good to remember that the statement of purpose is a place where you can also talk about your reading practice, your influences. You can show us what your sources, what your poetic lineage is, so that we have a sense of where the work is coming from, and you don't have to feel like you have to, represent that in any kind of, slavish way in the writing sample.
Yeah. So I guess, like, in terms of nitty-gritty type things that people sometimes ask, they say, do you want to see a sonnet in the application? And I guess I would say only if you really think that the sonnet that you've written is work that really shows you at your best and most representative. And I'd say the same thing for other types of formal approaches to poetry that people often, we know that many applicants have taken a lot of creative writing classes as undergraduates, though by no means all, and it's not a requirement. But a lot of people have poems that came out of exercises or prompts in these classes. And so they think, well, we'll show that we can do this. It's all up to you. I don't think we have any kind of model or template for what we want to see in the application. I think we want to see the work that you feel most represents you, the work that you feel closest to, the work that seems to say most about what you want to do with yourself as a writer. It doesn't have to be the most polished work. It doesn't have to be the work that your creative writing teacher said, oh, this is the greatest thing you've ever done, but it can be, right? Yeah. So if you're doing one thing, if you've got a project and this is what you're into, your whole application can consist of poems that are part of that project. If you do a bunch of different things and you haven't settled on what or who you are as a poet, send us a bunch of different things. We read with a lot of curiosity. We don't expect perfection, or else why would you be coming here, right? And we don't have any particular taste that we're trying to promote. So each person on the permanent faculty reads all of the hundreds of applications and makes some comments about them. And then we meet to discuss those that we still want to consider, and it's a large number. And we gather together and read through the applications again together, reading your poems aloud to each other, and trying to work it out from there. And we like to hear different voices, and as I said, we like to have people from different backgrounds who it seems are going to learn from each other and teach each other and push us in ways.
Yeah, exactly. I guess another thing I would add to that may be reassuring to people who are, sending in work cold is that not only do we each read every single application that comes in, but we take turns reading them first, second, and third. So we take turns reading from like front to back in the box and back to front, so that we really do our best to be as objective as at all possible on every single application that comes in. And I think each member of the faculty has a different aesthetic background and different preferences, but one thing I've really been struck by is that I don't think that those come into play as we're looking at the work that we want to bring to the workshop. There's an extraordinary degree of consensus among us as to what's the most interesting work. So you don't have to feel like you need to pitch it to like one particular person. Yeah.
And I think that goes to one of the values of the program, which is that we don't believe that any particular kind of approach to poetry gives the writer the keys to the kingdom. We don't think that this is the good type of work, this is the less interesting kind of work. We do think that there's such a thing as interesting, energetic, vital writing, and we believe that kind of writing occurs all across the aesthetic spectrum. So when you're here, we're not going to dictate to you what kind of poem you ought to write. Quite the opposite, right? And the students who sit at the workshop table are often amazed by how individual the work is around the table, how different they are from each other on the page as they are as people. So we do believe that there are things that we can talk about as good writing that keeps us interested, that makes us think, that shows a certain depth of engagement in language, a kind of way of thinking about poetry, something that really justifies why you've turned to the poem to do what you need to do. But we don't have any particular biases, I think, about what your chosen method is to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what makes the process exciting. I mean, it's also the case that our deliberations, when we get the last set of, we've kind of culled the entire group of manuscripts that have been submitted down to the set that we're discussing, it often takes us several days to deliberate over the applications that then ultimately make it in for admission. So we take it really seriously. It's not a frivolous thing. Yeah.
In many ways, I think we often consider it to be the most important thing we do as part of this job, because the success of the program, the vitality of the program, really depends on those we bring here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mark, do you have any really kind of practical pieces of advice for what to put into the manuscript? I mean, I was just thinking, like, for instance, you don't want to save your, your knock it out of the park swing for the very last poem. Like, put that up front, just impress us a little right out of the gate. But
I think that we're always, we read a lot of these things, so work that will make us perk up is helpful. Part of that is seeing a certain kind of range of work can be helpful. I really think, though, that to include the work that you personally feel strongest about, most attached to, most identified with, is the most important thing. I think above all, for me, I am listening for in the poems something that feels like a kind of genuineness of voice. I'm listening for that kind of thing that, again, can't necessarily just emerge from a creative writing classroom, but that emerges from the person who has really turned to poetry and to figure out what it can do for them.
Yeah. Well, I think to some extent it's mysterious. What makes one place really light up? And it is completely driven by the set of people who are here, and the commitment to the art of writing, kind of beyond other concerns. It's not a power hub, it's not a financial hub. I mean, you can really focus on your work here. And I think the fact that the East and West Coast tend to be, kind of literary centers that pay a lot of attention to kind of their own concerns and constraints, frees up the center of the country for, a kind of exploration that, is not constantly being scrutinized, a kind of breathing room to really explore what you can do and make strides towards something that hasn't yet been done.
I think that, obviously there are historical reasons for why Iowa City has been such a hub of literary activity. Is the first program in the United States to give a graduate degree for creative work, but it's not that exactly that I think allowed the literary culture to flourish here so much. It's the real recognition is that writers do their work in private, individually, need solitude, need quiet, but they also need a community. They need people around them who are supportive, who are interested, who nurture each other, who like to hang out. And so in Iowa City, for a long time, we've had a critical mass of writers. Enough people here so that you feel you're in a community of people who are making things out of words, and not so many people that you feel swamped. And I think to your point, Elizabeth, about the difference between being here and in a cultural hub in a coastal urban area is that here it's really the work that's the important thing. It's not the status that's conferred on the person. It's what you're doing on the page. And so this has turned out to be a community that's really hospitable to writers, where you go into the grocery store, the bookstore, the convenience store, and somebody asks you something about your work, which if you're a writer is kind of a nice feeling. And people show up at readings, people gather in informal settings, and the work is the thing. And it turns out to be a great thing to bring people together. And it really helps people grow in their work as well.